Hi all, welcome to Guide Coaching Classes. My name is Moazzam Ali, and today we are going to revise some very important functions which we have seen into our previous session, that is the string functions. So first of all, we have seen the replace function. It contains three parameters. The first one is string, old string and new string. So here this function is basically used for replacement of any character, any word or whole string altogether if we want to replace. So what we will do is we will write the that particular string into the first parameter as a first parameter, then we will give the old string which we want to replace, and then we will give the new string which we want to put in with the replacement to the old string, and that will be separated with the commas. Then the next function which we have seen is reverse function. So basically what it does, it reverse the string which we have given into that particular function. Then we have seen about the substring. So substring takes the whole string, then it has some starting point and the end point, and then that particular part of that string is printed, or we can use it for further development or further manipulations. Then we have seen about the quote name. So basically quote name takes two parameters. It has one string and the quote characters. So we can we will take a string and then we will write some quotations, single quote, double quote, curly brackets, square brackets. So likewise we use in quote name. Then we have replicate. So if we want to replicate any particular string n number of time, at that time we will use this. It has two parameter. The first one is string and the second one is integer. Okay, now moving on to our next function, that is the soundex. So soundex basically decide what two parameters or the two expressions are sounds exactly into English, and that is how we use the expression for putting it into the soundex function. Then we have space. So if we want to put n number of spaces, we will give the number and then those spaces will be printed. Then we have learned about the string function that takes three parameters. The first one is number, then the second one is length, and the third one is decimal, and it gives us the string. It converts the string of any number. Okay, then we have seen about stuff. So stuff also takes three parameters, four parameters. It takes the string, whole string. It takes the starting point, end point, and then the new string, whatever we want to insert into it. Okay, then we have seen about the translate. So translation basically takes three parameters. The first one is string. Okay, then the second one is characters, and the third one is translation. So whatever translation we want to put, we will put it into the last parameter, which is comma separated. Then we have learnt about Unicode. So Unicode, what it does is simply converts any string or any character expression into the ASCII value. Then today we are going to discuss about the SQL Advanced Function. So this is also very important functions. These are very important functions, and mostly they are asked into interviews. So practice it by you at your end, and try to learn as many combinations as much you can, and that will ultimately help you to get a good a good opportunity or good role and position into an organization. Then the first function which comes into it is current user. So this is the function which gives us the current user who's using the system, that we can get using the current user. It is advanced function. Then the second one comes is the session user. So who's using exactly the system, that is also we can use it into other terms, that is session user. Then we have third function, that is the session property. So session property also will be used for identify the property of the session who is using the system. Then we had the system user. Again, this is also session user, system user are one and the same. So these are the functions which we are going to use in advanced function, and these functions are comes into advanced function. So interviewer maybe ask you a question like, what all functions comes into advanced functions in SQL, what all are the advanced functions. So at that time you can uh, list down these functions. They are not much, they are a handful, and you can easily remember them. So now we will see the next one, that is the username. So basically username is also used to identify the who's the user of that particular system. Okay, so now we will quickly go and we will check about the system. uh, so this is my first function which we are using. So this is my select current user. So this will give me the current user. So my current user is DBO. Here I am using the uh, my system. So if I go here and if I check my database, so it will show me that what type of system I'm using. So this here master tables, this gives me the system name. This is my DBOC. That's how it gives me the current user. Then if I go and if I search for the session user, what is the session, then that is also the same. Then if I go and if I check for the username, that is also same. Then I will check for this session property. So now this will give me a null value. Okay, because it's a session property and session is null. Okay, then I have the system user. So what is my system? This particular system's user is desktop, and that is my name of that particular system. So that is how I will get the system user. Okay, now coming back to our main window, where we will see the next function, that is the isNull. So isNull function basically is used for to identify whether any given value is null or not. It gives us true or false value on the basis of the record. Then we have the COALESCE. COALESCE function is basically used to print a not null value. So whenever we have n number of null values, and after n plus 1 value is not null, so and we apply that particular COALESCE function to that particular column, so at that time it will print us the not null value first, not all the null values. It will print us the not null value. That is how, that is the functionality of the COALESCE. Okay, then we have null if. So we have this function. It takes the parameter and it checks if that value is null or not, and if it is null, it will print us the result. We'll see the example of it. Okay, so we'll go quickly and we will check this is null. So if you see, I have this function, I will execute this. So is null, is null. If that value is null, then replace it with guide coachings. That's how I have done. So here I have one assignment for you. So if you see here, I have created this table, and if I execute this, you can see my column name, last name is null. So now what I want to do is I want to replace this null with some constant character. So this is my characters, these are my characters. Okay, this is my string. I want to replace this null with this character. That is your assignment. You need to find out how I can do that. Okay, then moving on to our next function, that is COALESCE. So if you see, I have three values as a null over here, and my fourth value is guide coaching, and then fifth is again null, and sixth is some value into the string. So now if I execute, it will go and it will not consider these three, it will consider the fourth one directly, that is guide coaching. That's how it works. Okay, that is simple. Then null if. So if you check, if you see, it takes two parameters, the first one and the second one. So we can use it for integer and for spaces as well, for characters as well. So here I have taken an example of integer. So here integer value I have taken 25 comma 25. So select null if 25. So if that is not equals to 25, if 25 is not equals to 25, it will print me null. Okay, so if I execute this, 25 is equals to 25, so it is printing me null. Okay, if it is not equals to 25, it will print me the first value whichever I have given. So here I have the other use case where I have given 25 comma 55. So now you see, if I execute this, it will give me 25. That is the first one, that it is not null. that these two, these two uh, values are not equal. So if they are not equal, it will print the first value. Okay, null. If it, that is how it works. If it is equals, then it will print null. If it is not, it won't, you know it will print the first one. Okay, now I have taken the second example into the characters as well. So if you see, I have written sample and sample. So if the sample and sample are equal, then it will print me a null. Okay, so it is printing me null value. Okay, now moving on to our next function, that is convert. What convert does is it simply converts the value into some, some other data type. So if we have a column which has some integer as a data type, and we want to convert it to character, at that time we can use this convert function. This comes into advanced function, remember this. Okay, so now the second one is used for cast. So casting is also similar, which is used to do the conversion of, any data type to any data type. Then we have if, I with I extra. So this if is used for, doing the comparison, and it will print us the result yes or no. That's how it is used. We will see the example. Then we have IsNumeric. So this function is used for checking that particular given statement or given condition is numeric or not. If it is not, then it will print us no, and if it is yes, then it will print yes. Okay, we will see the practical example applications of it. Okay, so first function which we have seen is cast. uh, the first function which we have seen is convert actually. So we'll see that. Okay, uh, I will write the, query for this. So we have the cast function first. So select cast 25.65 as integer. So now here, if I, this is my decimal value, so I am converting it to integer. So if I execute it, it is converted to integer. Okay, so now similarly, on similar lines, convert also works on the similar line. That's why I have not taken that example. Okay, now moving on to the next function, that is if. So if is, here it takes the condition, and if it is true, it will print the first first character, first string. If it is not, then it will print the other one. So here if you see, I have 500 is less than 1000. So is it true or false? So 500 is less than 1000. Yes, that is true. So it will print yes. Okay, and if it is not, so if I execute this, 5 is greater than 1000, it will give me no. So basically this value could be anything, and this value could also be anything. But what is it doing is, it is, if it is, passing the condition, this condition is true, at that time it will print this first one, and if it is false, it will print the second one. That's how the logic is. Okay, so now here I have one assignment for you guys, that here if you see, I have a salary. This is my salary column. Now what I want to you to do is, I want you to make a, to make a query where you are finding any, like this, this the first one, the first record, that is 2000 is less than or greater than. You can, use both the conditions, and you can compare it with the second one, the second record, into the table. So whatever the second record, you don't know the what is the second record, you don't know what is first record, you just need to compare what the first record is greater than the second record or not, and then if it is not, then it should print me yes or no accordingly. Okay, that's your second assignment. Then we have seen is numeric. So if it takes only one parameter, and it checks about is numeric or not. If it is numeric, it will print me a yes, that is 1. If it is not, it will print me a no, this value is not numeric. Okay, so basically simply it will check is numeric or not. That's all for today. If you have any questions regarding the advanced functions, you can write a comment to me, and I will try to answer it as early as possible. And moving on to our next session, we will be discussing about the primary key and foreign key, and then we will see about the joins. So this was very important topic, so that's why I have kept it at the after a few sessions, so that you will be well versed with the tables and the columns and the rows and the data type. So these all things I needed you to be understand first, and then I will be, now we are moving towards the advancement of the tables, where we will be dealing with two tables and more than two tables, and then we will be fetching the records and we will be creating the queries. So that's how we will be working. So that's all for today. Thank you so much.